of it is the fact that, oh, that's cool, folk are voting for me even though they went on my team, and
But I'd rather have the play of the game than the Wii nomination afterwards.
But you've got both, so why does it matter?
I know, but I feel like the play of the game is something worth playing for because it's cool.
But you still are.
You've got your
I don't understand what
rights.
your what it is that.
I would rather you had your conventional multiplayer, certainly FPS scoreboard afterwards, where it shows you how you've done.
That's one of the nice things about it, because it means like that everyone just plays together and your little teams.
I just feel like that's oversimplifying it. Personally, I get the argument for why it works.
There's so many games where you've got that. I mean, just it's doing something
but I just feel like it's already quite simplified and streamlined in a lot of ways, which are very good. But I think that was one thing where they could have just used a wee bit more elitism and to make you go, oh wow.
That's against everything the game's for.
I got the most points.
But the reason is, Joe, is because that is, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but how you play games is you play for the most kills. Even in Siege, even in like Battlefield and that, you like to know that you have more kills than your teammates.
Yes,
and that's just not this game.
I know it's not. But that's the thing that I feel like it was missing for me. Like, so when I was playing it, I was just a bit like, oh.
But it's not game changing though.
No, but it did have a proper discernible difference to me. Like, I seen a lot of people moaning that it didn't have an aim, like online. There was a lot of people moaning in comments.
Oh, you mean like aiming down sights?
Yeah, people didn't like stuff like that. I disagree with that, because it's not, that works. All the
more like
abilities
an arena shooter
you've got works great for that.
Like Doom.
But it was just the one thing. It was the one thing that it did that's different to other online multiplayers that I just felt like I still wanted. I was just still looking out for that, because I was always thinking to myself like, oh, I did really good there. I think I killed a lot more than I died, so I wanted to see what my kill death ratio was, and you don't have that. Not even, I think that's it. It's more just even how you've personally done. See, even if it didn't tell you how you've done in relation to everyone else, but you still got to see how many people you killed and how many times you died, or whatever.
Can't you see that?
If it gave you,
I'm pretty sure
if it gave you more personalised stats, like if it told you did. Can you?
I'm pretty sure you can just go into each character and look at your stats for that character. Amount healed.
Oh well, yeah, you can. Oh no, you can do it in summary. But what I mean is for that one game.
And sure, it doesn't tell you your kill death ratio, even if it doesn't tell you.
It tells you your number of eliminations, but it doesn't say a kill death ratio.
Right.
Seems very minor.
I felt like it made a decent difference. Not enough, like, points-wise, not like making.
We've never ever talked about kill death ratios. It's not like it's kind of like a measure of skill.
But when it's all the game is.
But it's not all the game is, though. That's the whole point, isn't it? The game is nothing like that.
When it's only a multiplayer. Like when it all.
But it's not. It's not about who's got the most kills, though. Just because it's a multiplayer doesn't mean that's what it's about. That's where you're continuously kind of going back to, and it's like that's just not what the game is. That's where it is more of a MOBA, where it is that kind of like...
I just felt that I was missing it.
Yeah, well, do you think though it's because rather than it being necessarily a bad point in the game or anything like that, do you feel as though it was maybe because you were just so used to it in other games?
Probably, yeah.
So the fact that it's not there, you recognise that.
Do you know if it was there? Do you know what happened? Every single cunt would be that Reaper character. Every single person.
Yeah.
That's what would happen.
But I already felt like there was an overuse of him. And to be fair, I probably used Reaper as much, if not more, than any other character.
Because you like to play the lone wolf. You like to play the lone wolf.
Therefore,
I don't think he was lone wolf. I think if I was playing lone wolf, I'd be going sniper and the bow dude. Can't remember his name.
Well, I suppose, yeah. And there's a few
felt like
that
Reaper was good for getting in close when you had lots of people. If you had somebody healing you.
Yeah, he was good for clearing out.
Or if you were getting. Yeah, or if you were getting like pumped by people with turrets and like explosions and stuff like that, and you were finding it hard to get in, he could just go get your superpower, go boom, right in the crux of them.
That's where you have the whole problem with those.
That's
where you have the whole problem with those leaderboards, the kill death ratios and stuff. Because let's say you take that and you go like the guy called Reaper, the guy went Reaper on the team and he killed he killed 30 people, brilliant, well done. But while he's killing all these people, they're slowly moving that thing towards our base. And then you get two guys at the base that defend it, and they actually, like me and Liam did, for example, and we actually stop it going there. But we don't kill that many people, we just stay in place and we just make sure it doesn't move any further. You can't put that on a leaderboard.
But that's where the game could have done something different. Like, so you wouldn't... No, I definitely agree with that.
But it does.
Like, you wouldn't win
that's
the
where it gives you to play the game, and that's where it gives you those four things.
Wait. You wouldn't win by kills versus deaths, or just kills overall, which is what most online FPSs are. You would win by points, and it can easily assign you points for all sorts of helpful things. So, like, in the same way as it recognises who to nominate at the end by, like Liam has healed half of the damage done in the game, it could give him a shitload of points for that.
But that makes those things
versus
aspirational.
At the same time, it's given somebody's got all the objective points by moving the cart the whole way there, and they've not killed very many people, but they've won the game, so that would get them lots of points for the amount of time spent on the objective.
But it does
stuff like that. It could just...
That's what those things do.
I know.
That's
literally,
but all you're describing literally what exists in the game already.
Yeah, exactly. But all it does is give you a nomination at the end, and it says you were helpful, but it doesn't give it a points value on a like a leaderboard.
But what's the relevance of a points value on a leaderboard? Why does that matter?
To see how well you've done.
Well, you've done at least in the top 4 players.
Yeah, but it's just not the same.
So like what you're saying is, like, rather than being told you were one of the top 4 players and you healed 63% of all the damage and stuff
I'd just like to see a leaderboard, top to bottom, both teams, mixed or otherwise. You know, 2 teams separated and your best in your team or what, or just all players and most useful to most unuseful. Useless.
Rather than split up into, so you would like them to kind of categorize all of that together and have like a final sort of top 10
points,
kind of thing,
top to bottom. And then actually, if anything, that would maybe encourage team play more, because it would weed out those that aren't helping the team. It might show one sniper has killed 6 people and died no times, so they've got a 6.0 kill death ratio, but they've only got a few points because...
How would you know they were a sniper? How would you know what character they were?
Oh, well, they could have mixed it. Well, true. Well, whatever. But what I mean is, like, some person has only got 6 kills and no deaths, and they've not really done anything else. They've not got any objective points. They've not got any healing. They've not got any support or assists. Whatever. You know, so they get a mediocre amount of points, probably in the bottom half, versus somebody that has spent the whole game healing every character and has won the game, and they come top. Or whatever, and then second is perhaps somebody that's killed a shitloads of people and has also done wee bits of contributions. You know, been on the objective for a certain amount of time, brought someone.
I just don't see what the problem is.
It's not a problem, but I would just.
It seems like what they've got now is a really interesting way of kind of highlighting people that have done well at the end of a game without it just being a silly numbers game. Hollow? What's
like
more hollow than a
victory.
Fucking number next to a name? Oh my! I don't understand.
Like a hollow victory. But when people like, when I get the play of the match, you're like, oh yes, that's cool. Look how cool that was. It shows it on everyone's screen, and you're like, yeah, that was fucking badass. I got the coolest thing that happened in the game. It gives you that internal good feelings about yourself. But when you win, when the wee nominate, and when it says Joe Green did whatever, and a few people vote for you, and then it goes, bing, well done. Like, I just feel like it's nothing. I don't really...
But you do get something for that, though. You physically get something for that.
Do you get a chest or something?
You get more... You have a higher likelihood of getting X, Y, or Z loot in a chest for that. So there's literally a benefit to it. As opposed to no benefit whatsoever to having a number next to your name on a leaderboard.
Well, I'd like the same benefit. There's no reason why you couldn't still have the better chance of getting it, but I'd like to see it on a leaderboard, top to bottom, who the best contributor was and who the least.
There's no denying that when you play Overwatch, you need to change your mindset from most other shooters, and that's just something that you need to do. And if it's true, if you don't, if just killing. If doing the teamwork is not enough and you need to know about the kills and that, then it's not going to appeal to that because it's not that kind of game. But then
I think it's a fair point because it's all it's got. Like, say there was the main campaign, say there was the campaign there and everything else, like, that would be so inconsequential that it doesn't even
you're not,
it's not even
you're not, when you say it's all it's
though,
got, it's just so not true. It's not, you're just treating it like a bog standard arena shooter. That's not what the game is trying to be.
Yeah.
It's trying to be a very, very team-based, very, very, like, balanced, everyone's got a job game that also happens to be a shooting game.
And all that. But that was why it just felt a wee bit shallow to me. It was like, if I'm not playing it for a campaign, if I'm not playing it for any story value or anything like that, if I'm just playing it as a competitive multiplayer, and it's not got the competitive edge, then it's just a bit like a relatively shallow
I think
multiplayer.
that I don't know if you're going on about this, but
playing it with people.
I think the problem is that, like, the idea of, like, it's not got that competitiveness because it doesn't have some numbers at the end of a screen. I think that's the whole problem nowadays. Is that, like, everyone's obsessed with the fucking a number, when in actual fact, in order to be competitive, what you actually want is a good competitive game, a good match, and the competitiveness comes out when you play.
Definitely. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's a good mix because I will buy the games that do that for that, you know, Battlefield, Doom, whatever, you know. But Overwatch, I am buying it. The reason I'm buying it is because it's so different to them.
Yeah, and I want to figure out who are the other characters that work well together. Who are the ones that are like, oh, there's a certain situation, we've got a few points left to win on the board. How do we get points quickly? Well, we'll do these. We'll team up with these two.
Yeah. I totally see your point in terms of, and it does. I mean, the game's not going to change for you. So if you don't like if you like all your shooters to have that sort of competitive head-to-head kind of kills and deaths, then you know, the game's not going to change. Maybe the more you played it, the more it would bother you less. Like, you know, like maybe initially
I think it did start to bother me less the more we played, because you just I got used to
you weren't a big fan at all really when we first started, and by the end, like, you were the one kind of getting the most into it, and like,
yeah, no, I agree.
Know, actually being vocally
grew on me a lot more.
You know, especially when you couldn't figure out how certain characters work, because it was like, oh, I can't get this fucking Genji guy to work or whatever, blah blah blah, and then it was like, oh, I've just got 3 more kills with him. Whoa, yeah, and I think that was what the game was.
Yeah, that's definitely like a good selling point to it.
Like, I never thought.
But do you know what the other reason?
I think she's ace. She's great fun.
I think the reason that happened so much though as well is because I was playing with Hughes, and I think that's where it then comes back to the competitive thing, that the competitive stuff doesn't really matter as much if you're playing with your mates in a team, because then it's just about the team winning.
It's about the team. I agree with that. I do agree with that.
But see, when I was just playing with other randoms online, I didn't really care as much. Like, you were playing for you. Yeah. So that's when you then missed not seeing what your kill death ratio was at the end or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right, well, this episode's ran on long enough, so I think we better...
Last thing, I'm going to ask you one last thing, because it's relating to the game we've just played. And I'd recommend we split this push bar, guys, because Overwatch is now totally overtaken.
We'll do Boner Overwatch chat?
Boner
Overwatch.
Chat.
Boner Watch, yeah.
Right, taking it back to Doom. It's a bit of a shit argument, because it's in no way, it's not the same objective in terms of what it's trying for. But just imagine the multiplayer we've just done there.
It's not even worth discussing.
No, wait. No, it is. It's just as good in terms of gameplay. The gunplay's just as tight. The range of weapons are all still there. The customization in your character's still there. The level design is all still there with, you know, your power-ups and everything all where they are. It's just as fun getting a cool kill streak. It's just as cool getting a glory kill on someone. But it doesn't give you any numbers at the end.
But it's a pointless argument, Joe. It's completely pointless because it's nothing like the same game. It's literally.
But you're still.
You might as well argue that it's like fucking Command and Conquer versus that. It's completely different.
I think it's totally valid. Say you're playing Team Deathmatch, right? Which is one of the matches, and all you're doing is the exact same as Overwatch. You're just trying to get your team to win. It doesn't matter if one person in the game kills 2 people.
But the difference, Joe, is everyone in this game is the same character. Everyone in this is the same. There's no difference between any.
But they're all using different weapons.
What is